Morning, everyone. I will be as succinct as I can about this. I'm going to talk to you about the Library of Things, where it came from, how we got started, what the plans are for the future, and how you might want to start one in your part of the world. John actually sat across from me in this office. We had a lovely chat about this a little while ago. So hopefully we will be able to show you how we've moved on. Very quickly, a bit about the parish. Those of you that know Milton Keynes, this is Milton Keynes. So hello to the people in Walnut, in the Open University, which is over here. My friends from Woughton, hello Ruth and Lenka just down the road. We have H roads and V roads, horizontal roads and vertical roads, and each grid square is a self-contained community, or that's how it was designed, with a shop, a meeting place, and usually a pub. We've got 9 of those grid squares here in Woughton, 7 residential, and they're all unique in their own way. So we have Norman Foster designed one of our estates, Bean Hill. He doesn't like to talk about it, but he still did it. And then the flattened roof line of Netherfield, which is seen by the Modernist Society as an excellent example of non-traditional building methods, where they have a flattened roof line that works with the topography of the parish. I sound like I know lots of things about this. We're quite a big parish council. We've got a precept of 885,000 this year. We were NAUC Council of the Year, and we run a whole range of different services. We have Anika, I think, Aniko, a team of 4, lovely. I've got 31 people who work with the council here, and 19 elected representatives. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and it was really lovely to see from Aniko some of the things that you're doing, how they merge with some of the things that we're doing, and I'm absolutely going to steal some of your ideas for us as well. The engagement with people is very much how we started with this. People were telling us that this is what they wanted. So just a quick one really for you lot. How many of you have got just stuff sitting around that you don't use very often, stuff that needs storing, stuff that's expensive, where the cost outweighs the benefits of ownership? So everything, you know, camping equipment used once a year, jet washers. I use a jet washer, and I always borrow a jet washer from my neighbour. He has a very nice jet washer, whereas I have nowhere to put a jet washer. Disco equipment, catering kit for parties. When you've got people coming round, you need an extra table or some extra chairs. Where do you get this stuff from? So this is really where the idea for the Library of Things came from. There are some really interesting things. £30 billion worth of stuff sitting around. The one that made me smile a lot, 800,000 air fryers are sitting unused in UK homes. Air fryers was the big fad last year and the year before, I think. If you go back a decade, how many of you had foot spas for Christmas? And we all had foot spas for a little while. And then we had those things that we put on our car seats that vibrated when you were driving, because they were supposed to be very good for you. And I'm sure there are hundreds of thousands of those sitting around as well. So lots of different things that you might want once in a while. This gives you an idea perhaps of some of those things. I did some research coming into this. People who own chocolate fountains, 75% of people who own chocolate fountains haven't used it in the last 5 years. The same is true for nearly 70% of people with fruit juicers, 66% of pasta makers, 60% of bread makers. All of these things. Workbenches, over 45% of people have a workbench that they haven't used in the last 5 years. And every time we buy a new tool or a new gadget, we're part of a system that takes natural minerals and releases carbon emissions and all of those things. The UK is the 2nd biggest producer of electrical waste in the world, and we still buy nearly 2 million brand new electrical products every year. It's a very strange thing. So a Library of Things basically is a community space where people can borrow useful items that they might only need occasionally. Tools, sewing machines, camping equipment. You can read the list there. And the goals are multiple. It is about reducing waste and consumption by promoting sharing within the community, but it's so much more than that as well. And that's what I'm going to touch on while we go through this. So the goal really is about reducing waste, much the same as I saw, Aniko, that you used to run a community fridge. I think yours has now closed down. Here in Woughton, we have 3 community fridges. For those of you that don't know about community fridges, these are community projects where food that would otherwise go to waste is donated and redistributed to stop food going to landfill sites. it started probably back in kind of 2018, 2019, and it's spread across the country now. We save in Milton Keynes since 2020, we've saved the equivalent of 4.1 million meals in terms of the food that's come through the fridges and not gone to landfill and be redistributed. And that again was originally a waste reduction project. The Library of Things started back in 2014 with a kind of, I suppose, a grassroots initiative down in South London. It built upon earlier initiatives, tool libraries. Toronto Tool Library was, I think, the first. Here in Woughton, we've been running a tool library since, I think, about 2010, 2009, lending mowers, strimmers, other bits, mainly garden equipment, to people across the area. So we provided that at no cost, encouraging residents to share equipment rather than having to buy it. It was ahead of its time, some would say, but it was affordable, free for residents of the parish. And one of the positives about this was our officers would go and deliver and talk to our residents about the spaces that they were managing, often offer advice about complementary planting and things like that. It was a really lovely way of starting to engage. And this, I think, goes back, Nico, to the stuff you're talking about, the informal engagement with people where they get to know you and you build those relationships across the parish. And once that started, once people started borrowing tools, they would tell their neighbours about it, and their neighbours would tell their friends, and the tool library grew and grew. As John mentioned earlier on, we had a situation where we simply didn't have any room. The challenge was the issue with storage space. So we were very lucky in terms of we deliver the devolved landscaping service for the parish of Woughton. So our principal authority, Milton Keynes City Council, pays us to deliver landscaping services. Until a few years ago, when John came down, actually 2 or 3 years ago, our landscape service was based in a depot off parish because it was the only space that we could find. That space was subjected to a significant amount of challenge, I suppose, in terms of people taking the roof off and stealing all of our stuff. So we worked with our principal authority. We found a piece of wasteland within our parish, and we've developed a new landscape depot. Now, as part of that planning, we looked at what else we might be able to use that space for. And one of those things was a Library of Things, expanding the tool library to respond to the requests from people in our parish. We got frequent requests for things like tables and chairs. Cake tins was a really surprising one for me. The number of people who said, "Oh, have you got a big cake tin? We've got a celebration coming up and I've got cake tins, but there's nothing big enough." And cake tins are really expensive. So we now have a range of cake tins that people can come and borrow when they're making for example, my mum is 80 in December and I'm organising a party, and I've been lucky enough to be able to borrow a massive cake tin from the Library of Things so I can prepare a cake, and she will be very happy and I will get massive brownie points and everybody will be happy. So that's great. But it's that sort of thing, I suppose, looking at what is needed. So the human contact was an important part of this. We also previously had what you can see on your screen, the local groups equipment loan form. So this was for people like residents associations, local charitable organisations, groups working across the parish, where again they would come to us and say, can we borrow a gazebo? Can we borrow some tables? Can we borrow, and I do this purely because I want to show us, can I borrow your display trailer? So this is a 7-metre trailer with a pop out at the back and a kitchen in it, and it's magnificent, and it means we can travel around the parish, and we bought it just before COVID hit, and we were able to go and deliver outdoor services, engaging with our community throughout the period where we were allowed to. So we will get requests for, can we have your trailer for our community fun day? So we built upon that and started talking to other people, I suppose. So this, I know one of the people on the call was from Oxfordshire. This is the Oxford Library of Thing from a company called Share Oxford, and they are great. They've got well over 200 things that you can borrow, but they take a slightly different approach. They have an enormous storage space, and they rent everything from, as you can see, air mattresses, animal hoppers, bubble machines, and everything in between. and they have a charging policy in place. So you can see the animal hoppers there are £8 per loan. The bubble machine is £4 a loan. They have a slightly different demographic to us, I think. I found these three things on their library of things: croquet, a feminist puzzle, and a festival beach wagon. I'm not sure how much use they would get within our parish. They're not, I think, priorities, but it shows the difference, I suppose. And again, £18 a loan for a beach wagon in our library of things probably wouldn't work particularly well. Woughton is a parish which is phenomenal, but is challenged in terms of the levels of deprivation we have. We're, some of our lower super output areas are in the 3% most deprived in the country, despite the fact that we are part of the very affluent city of Milton Keynes. So we created and we worked with the same people that provide the Oxford Library of Things software with a company called Lend Engine. They are great and they are affordable. We pay £5 a month for this particular piece of software. That's absolutely the response I was hoping for, Anika. A slight surprise, that's very cheap and affordable. It really is. And all of our borrowing is managed through this. So you can see we have agreements and liabilities. That is crucial, our terms and conditions, and then things in our library. And this is basically how it looks. So you will get all of your equipment that is in your library of things. So we have, as you can see, everything from lawnmowers to litter picking kits to pressure washers to carpet cleaners, dehumidifiers. You will see that some of these have a cost associated with them. This is predominantly around things that are electrical, and it contributes to the costs of, for example, portable appliance testing, anything that has consumables. So lawnmowers need new blades, trimmers need strimmer cord, that sort of thing. We are remarkably flexible in terms of being able to say, don't worry about it, you can have it. We will work with our residents. We know our residents quite well, and we're able to talk to them and know whether or not this is something that they can afford to do or not afford to do. So that's a really good kind of overview, I suppose, of what is in our library of things. There are a number of things for you to consider, I suppose, in terms of how you might go about this. And this is what I really wanted to talk to you about. So I'm going to stop the share and I'm just going to go through things so you can see me, if you like, talking to you. The things that matter are having a clear vision of what it is you want to achieve. Is it about garden equipment? Is it about providing an enormous range of things? And if so, where are you going to store it? We are really lucky in terms of we have this particular depot. We have two 20-foot containers with racking down three sides, and that includes both the library of things and our flood kit. We are a parish that is subject to surface water flooding, and a lot of the stuff that we have, we use to support our residents in managing that. So between those two 20-foot containers, we store almost everything. The other things that you will need to consider are things like budget. How much budget have you got? There are costs associated with this. The £5 for the Lend Engine, the software, is reasonably affordable, but we also have an officer who manages this, Julie. She's our parish ranger, and she spends Mondays and Fridays for an afternoon at each end of the week doing loans for the library of things, so people can collect and deliver back. So staffing is another one. We work with volunteers, but volunteers are an essential part of it, but there is a level of oversight that's needed to make sure that everything is covered and you are legal. The charging policy, the equipment alone. If you're lending electrical equipment, there are additional things that you need to consider. PAT testing, safety checks, RCD breakers, all of those sort of things. So make sure you get your T's and C's in place. Alongside the T's and C's, as I said, we also have the sign off basically that says we borrow this stuff on the understanding that we're competent and capable, and if we do something stupid, it's on us and we're not going to sue the library of things. You need to decide who it's open to. One of the challenges we have is we are a parish within a city that is fully parished, and we are one of the few library of things that is available locally. It is supported through our precept, and therefore we keep it within our parish. However, we get people coming to us from outside our parish frequently saying, can I join the library of things? we've discussed this, and what we've done is we now have a tiered membership system. If you're in the parish, happy days. If you're outside the parish, we're going to make you pay a bit more, because that's what needs to happen, so that we're not using taxpayer money to support people outside the parish. It's a balance to find, I think it's fair to say. What are the overall aims? And what add-ons do you want to have? The add-ons is a really interesting one. So at the moment, we're looking at things like Repair Cafe. So running a Repair Cafe alongside our library of things, where people can bring equipment that is damaged or needs mending, working with a group of experts or people with skills. So people who understand electronics, people who understand sewing and repairs to soft toys, a range of different people. There are a couple of repair cafes in the city, but there's nothing close to us. So again, it's about putting something within the parish that people are able to benefit from. So there's a whole heap of things, I think it's fair to say, that we have the potential to do in terms of bringing the library of things into a positive place. What we hope to do is to skill people, to give people the opportunity to come along and both borrow things, but also through the Repair Cafe, develop new skills and new opportunities, and hopefully develop new friendships as part of that as well. So there are loads of benefits, financial benefits, environmental benefits, and the social and community benefits. And I think those are all important parts of what we're trying to do with the Library of Things. We've seen it grow and grow. And I think, John, as you said, when you came down, it was very much conceptual. We are now delivering this on a weekly basis. It's better for purses. It means people can get access to things that they wouldn't otherwise be able to get, or would have to spend more money than they need to on. It's better for the planet, because it means that we're not just buying stuff to have stuff, 800,000 air fryers sitting in cupboards. And it's better for our community, because it means our community can support each other in sharing things. One of the ways that Oxford has grown their Library of Things is through donations. So people donate things to the Library of Things. And again, you need to be clear, if you're setting one of these up, about what you're going to take and what you're not going to take, because the danger is that you simply become a dumping ground, if you like, for the community's stuff that they don't want. And that's what you don't want to do. I'm aware of the fact that it's now 10:02. My time is up. I've put a little picture of Julie, who is our Library of Things genius, at the top, with a thank you underneath, because it is well deserved. And if you'd like any questions answered, now is your time.